了年轻一代的责任担当和价值，以英雄壮举为新时代中国青年树立了榜样。
英雄的城市，英雄的人民。
疫情发生后，湖北省十堰市竹山县一水镇陈家铺村村医、全国优秀共产党员柳林乡竹山县柳林乡红坪村村民、全国道德模范刘学举积极参与疫情防控，用实际行动践行担当精神。湖北台记者常哲报道。
3月11号，湖北十堰市竹山县一水镇陈家铺村的春耕工作已经有序展开。村民王焕云担心村民们耐不住，要串门聚会，便照例挨家挨户走访了一遍。陈家铺村外地返乡66人，经山路环绕。王焕云查访完所有住户，在几件从1月20号这样的工作，从1月
工作，还有这个工作，叫我来把这个66人呢也管好，咱每天来2次，让他们家人去体温呢。提前那几天呢，一再的给他们宣传，叫他们不能外出。
2016年，王焕云被授予全国优秀共产党员荣誉称号。2017年荣获白求恩奖章，这都源于他10几年如一日对艾滋病患者的尽心救治、无私奉献。作为湖北省十堰市竹山县防艾第一人，长期以来，王
R.ROMANIA International. You are listening to our 1-hour broadcast in English for listeners in it can also be heard at www.ir.ro.1. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms. Available on TuneIn and via satellite service at 16 hours. Symbol rate 29,950 mega symbols per second, standard DVB-S2, modulation 8 BSK, audio PID 510. We wish you good reception conditions.
Hello and welcome to the news desk with me, R.ROMANIA. First, the headlines. In Romania, the number of coronavirus infections has reached 50. The Romanian President, Iohannis, has summoned parliamentary parties for talks on Friday with a view to designating a new Prime Minister. The number of cases of contamination with the new coronavirus in Romania has reached 50. 6 of the people contaminated have recovered so far, with almost 1,600 people being institutionalized for quarantine and more than 13,600 in quarantine at home and under medical monitoring. To prevent and combat the spreading of the virus, the Romanian authorities have closed down schools and kindergartens until March 22nd, and universities suspended courses until March 31st. Distribution outside Romania of medicines and sanitary materials used for combating the coronavirus has been suspended for the next 6 months. And the cultural and entertainment events involving the participation of more than 100 people in closed areas were also cancelled until March 31st. The army will send military medical staff to help assess and prioritize potential patients at the cross-border points in the southwest and northwest of Romania. The Romanian citizens who arrive in the country through the land cross-border points from Italy, China, Iran, South Korea, Germany, France, and Spain will be quarantined in hospitals or at home. China has passed the peak of the coronavirus epidemic, the National Health Commission announced on Thursday, after only 8 new cases of contamination have been reported in Hubei province, the epicenter of the epidemic, where the number of cases was much higher. The coronavirus has infected around 126,000 people around the world, has killed over 4,600, but almost 70,000 people have recovered from the infection. So far, besides China, Cases of contamination have been reported in 120 countries of the world. Bulgaria, Ireland, Sweden and Indonesia have reported the first death on their territory. The Czech Republic declared the state of emergency on Thursday and will close the borders for foreign citizens coming from 15 countries to contain the spreading of this virus. Slovakia also announced closing the borders. Italy remains the European country most affected by the coronavirus epidemic. The Romanian President Klaus Iohannis has summoned parliamentary parties for talks on Friday with a view to designating a new Prime Minister. The decision was made on Thursday after the Liberal Florin Câțu has stepped down from the position of Prime Minister designate. The Romanian President considers his gesture a proof of political maturity in the complicated context caused by the coronavirus. Klaus Iohannis has called on Parliament to give a vote of investiture next week to a full-fledged government that should be able to fight the effects of the spreading of the new coronavirus, since a full-fledged government has all the means and instruments to take the necessary measures. Florin Câțu's decision to step down occurred little ahead of Parliament giving its vote on the proposed cabinet. We recall that the Liberal government headed by the Liberal leader, Ludovic Orban, was dismissed through a no-confidence motion last month. President Iohannis redesignated Mr. Orban as the new Prime Minister, but he had to step down following the decision of the Constitutional Court. Stocks in Asia dropped on Thursday after President Trump's announcement to suspend all flights from Europe to the U.S., with the exception of those coming from Britain for 30 days due to the coronavirus, France press informs. European stock exchanges, including that in Bucharest, have also dropped several percentages. According to analysts, travel restrictions also mean less economic activity. Oil prices have dropped by 6% on Asian markets as the suspension of flights to Europe and the US has caused a sharp drop in fuel consumption. Pundits expect the European Central Bank to announce new measures aimed at boosting the Eurozone economies to enable them to face the shock triggered by the coronavirus epidemic. The Constitutional Court has found that the emergency order amending the laws on parliamentary elections and on the organization of early elections comes against the Constitution. According to the court, the article that scraps previous restrictions and allows voters to cast their ballot in any polling station regardless of the constituency which they belong to violates the fundamental rights laid down in the Constitution. Thursday's decision of the Constitutional Court thus confirms the unconstitutionality claim raised by the Ombudsman. And that's the news.
The Romanian authorities take measures to contain the coronavirus disease in the country. I'm Ana Maria Popescu with more on this in a commentary written by Eugen Coroianu. Given the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in Romania, the authorities have taken a number of additional special measures targeting both the people who enter Romanian territory from abroad and the general public. First of all citizens, Romanians or foreigners who come from the so-called red zones, which include the entire Italy, Hubei region in China, including the city of Wuhan, and the Chengdu County and Daegu city in South Korea, will be quarantined for 14 days in special facilities. Those who come from the yellow zones, that is continental China, the entire Iran, other counties and localities in South Korea, as well as Heisenberg district in North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany, will be asked to self-isolate. The relevant bodies will ensure compliance with these measures, and failure to comply will lead to fines of up to 4,000 euros. The fine will be applied on each occasion in case of repeat violations. The head of the Department for Emergencies, Raed Arafat, warned that several such punishments have already been put into practice. She also announced that indoor cultural, scientific, artistic, religious, sports and entertainment activities involving more than 100 people have been restricted until March the 31st, and the period may be extended. University courses have also been suspended until the end of March, and alternatives such as online programs have been suggested. Public institutions will have to reorganize working hours so that employees may come to work at 3 different times during the day to avoid crowding in public transportation and reduce the risk of infection. As Raed Arafat also said, we voted to recommend private entities, including business operators with more than 99 employees, rethink working hours when the staff who use public transportation. This recommendation takes effect in Bucharest and county capitals between March the 12th and 31st, and the period may be extended. Raed Arafat also explained that under the guidelines, companies will have employees coming to work in 3 separate shifts. Exports of pharmaceuticals and medical equipment used in treating the coronavirus disease have also been suspended for 6 months. The products bought from export include antivirals, anti-inflammatory drugs, antibiotics, fever reducers, antifungal drugs, anesthetics, sedatives, and medical materials such as gloves, syringes, goggles, protective coveralls, disinfectants, and so on. Authorities also urged people to comply with the recommendations and to get information from official sources exclusively. Romania is now in scenario number 2 with 26 to 100 infected patients, and prevention is still the main concern before major changes in hospitals. If quarantine facilities prove to be insufficient, strictly monitored home quarantine may be introduced.
After years of growth, the Romanian economy risks slowing down and the reduced economic activity as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. I'm Cristina Matescu with a report by Bogdan Matei. On Wednesday, Bucharest played host to the first meeting of a mixed institution group charged with evaluating the economic, financial and budgetary effects of COVID-19 in Romania. Chaired by President Klaus Iohannis, the meeting brought together National Bank Governor Muguri Sărescu and representatives of the government and the business sector. The President called for a careful and responsible analysis of economic and social implications, at the same time calling on all institutions to limit the economic impact of the epidemic-generated crisis. Measures must factor in the interests of employees, businesses and the budget, which entail various consequences and scenarios. The President of the National Council of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Florin Gianu, says that particular assistance must be given to companies experiencing financial difficulties in the fields of tourism, transport and car manufacturing. In these fields where we notice an immediate impact, we can set up a system of state allowances that should basically help companies pay their employees. The Finance Minister has discussed the possibility of postponing by 1 to 2 months the deadline for contributions. There have been several other proposals regarding exports and various other fields. We all agreed that companies are facing a shortage of orders and trade agreements and therefore need working capital. Working capital can be obtained by getting zero-interest loans guaranteed by the state, which means the state provides a fixed amount of money which is multiplied to help several enterprises. The working group will analyze all measures tabled for discussion and will announce which measures will be adopted next week. Economic pundits warn that unless swift measures are taken, the economy will suffer dramatically. Professor of Economic Sciences Mircea Coșa told Radio Romania. We can expect a number of unpleasant effects, which are a result of what's happening in other countries and continents. Enterprises shutting down their activities, banks experiencing difficulties. There are many aspects that will make the situation much worse, albeit we're concerned only with the sanitary side of things, so to say. We need to consider all the elements at work. Employment is very likely to kick in, and we will soon see underperforming loans that will not be refunded. One day before the vote for his cabinet, the Prime Minister-designate Florin Cățu said Romania has the necessary resources and fiscal instruments to deal with any challenge related to the spread of the coronavirus. And that was Radio Newsreel.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Radio Romania International's English programs. Here are some of the highlights of our weekly broadcasting schedule. On Mondays, we broadcast a history show, the program that takes you on a foray into the rich history of the Romanian people from its beginnings to more recent times. You will learn about the events that shaped the Romanian nation, not only from historians, but also people who witnessed some of the events. If it's Tuesday, we take a look at Romania, its people and places from a different perspective in Inside Romania. On Wednesday, Society Today provides an in-depth analysis of some of the most important social issues facing Romania today and features interviews with sociologists and experts as well as members of the public. Traveler's Guide, our weekly tourism program, goes out on Thursdays and takes listeners to all corners of Romania for an exploration of the country's landmark tourist sites, as well as some of its hidden treasures, from rural, eco-friendly holidays to adventure travel and exclusive getaways. The world we live in is full of challenges, from migration to climate change, the economic crisis and international terrorism. All of these issues come under scrutiny in The Future Starts Today, on Friday. Stay tuned to Radio Romania International during weekends for the latest from the world of Romanian arts and culture, including reports from ongoing festivals and events, as well as interviews with artists, writers and critics in Saturday's World of Culture. We also extend you an invitation to try out Romanian recipes in The Cooking Show. On Sunday, Listeners' Letterbox takes a look at some of the letters and messages sent in by our listeners and brings you the latest on our programs and frequency. Stay for all these and much, much more on Radio Romania International, including current affairs, analysis, sports and lots of music. The English team wishes you happy listening. You are listening to Radio Romania International. Focus on Romania. Traveler's Guide.
Hello and welcome to our tourism feature. I am Florin Cățu. Today we are headed to the west of Romania to the Deva fortification, believed to be one of the most important medieval fortifications in Transylvania. But we will definitely not stop here, because the tourism potential of Hunedoara is vast and is able to cater to lovers of culture, history, as well as trekking and traveling. Our host today is Camelia Beda, Director of the Social and Economic Development Agency of Hunedoara County.
Este un județ plin de istorie, plin de tradiții, de oameni frumoși. În ajutorul turistului român sau străin, noi am...
This is a county full of history, traditions, of very nice people. In order to help the Romanian or foreign tourists, we recently financed a mobile app for tourism, Discover Hunedoara. We can start from the city of Deva, where you can visit the fortification. At the base of the fortification, we have the Magna Curia Palace. There we have a lot of exhibits, both Dacian and Roman. It is a museum well worth visiting. The fortification can be reached by cable car or afoot. From up there on the battlements, you can see the entire city and its surroundings, including the peak of Retezat. And then we have the famous stone churches in villages around Deva. Deva has been documented since 1269 and is the seat of Hunedwara County. The city is renowned for its medieval fortification, situated in the Darul Chetetsi Nature Reserve at the north of the city. It was ruled by voivodes, by princes, by counts and duchesses. It was given as a gift, inherited, sold, and besieged many times. All those noblemen have left a mark, a defense wall, a room, a ballroom, or even a multiple-level extension of the fortifications. They used it equally as a defense structure and as a home, and a luxury one. At this point, it has been mostly restored, and the cable car that takes visitors there is the only slanted cable car in the country. In terms of how long it takes to reach the walls and the ascent, it is among the first in Europe. Amelia Veda told us about heading to the castle. My first recommendation is to go to Hunedwara Castle. It is under repairs, but it can be visited year-round. In the inner courtyard, they have a lot of festivities and concerts. After Hunedwara Castle, you can go to Joaju Bay Resort, famous for its thermal wash. There, you can find a modern treatment base in a very quiet place. You can also find a waterfall there. Then you definitely have to head for Sarmizegetusa Regia. It was the core fortified city of our Dacian forefathers. It is a special place of beauty and very easy to reach. Next to it, you find Ultia Traiana Sarmizegetusa with exhibits from Roman times, since this was the provincial capital of the Romans here. In terms of UNESCO monuments, we have in our county the chain of Dacian fortifications, the Retezat National Park, and the Hatay County UNESCO International Geopark. Right now across the world, there are 140 UNESCO sites labeled Geopark, as told to us by Adina Popa, Heritage Manager of the Dinosaur Geopark.
Este unul dintre locurile speciale din România.
This is a special place in Romania because we are a UNESCO site, the only territory in the global Geopark network and part of the UNESCO International Program for Geoscience and Geoparks. The visitors can discover a land of fantasy, but also true stories based on scientific research explained in an easy-to-understand way for everyone. Here we are telling not only the story of midget dinosaurs that lived on what used to be the Isle of Hatay 70 million years ago, but we are also telling the story of the Earth, the story of nature, and especially the story of people. We have created a network of short stopovers. In each of them we tell a story, urging the tourists to continue on the trail so that in the end they can get a complete picture of the geopark and of Hatay country itself. In the town of Hatay, we also have the Geopark House, which Adina Popa recommends as the starting point trip. There we have a permanent exhibition called Dragons and Dinosaurs, and a model of a midget dinosaur discovered in this area. It is a stunted dragon created by one of the most famous paleo artists in the world, Canadian Brian Cooley. Then we have Volcano House, where we tell the story of volcanoes, because the former Isle of Hatay was a volcanic territory with a tropical climate, an environment totally different from what it is now. We also have the House of Traditions, where we talk about just that, the local traditions. We then have the House of Arts and Sciences, where we have two exhibitions. One is dedicated to earthquakes and how they occur. Another one is dedicated to the paleontologic discoveries in Hatay country, We also have the House of Midget Dinosaurs, where the tourists can see what happens in a paleontology game site, how the scientists can bring up to light the dinosaur and small mammal fossils that can be found here. All these are points on the trail that we recommend to tourists who want to cover as much as they can in Hatsid country. You have been listening to Traveler's Guide.
Next, on Radio Romania International, broadcasting from Bucharest. Foreign students in Romania.
Welcome to Foreign Student in Romania. I'm Ana Maria Popescu, and our guest today is Alexandru Dejan Varanic, a student of the Timișoara Polytechnic University. He's 22 and he was born in Chicago, the United States of America. He went to high school in the US, but came to university in the western Romanian city of Timișoara, where he majors in computer studies.
Majoritatea din americani trăiesc pe datorii vreo 7.
I took into account the fact that most Americans, around 70% I should say, live on bank loans, and an average university, not a top one, costs around $30,000 a year, without including living costs. This, plus the fact that Romania has a very good education system, is what made me decide to come to university here.
Sistemul de educație este foarte bun aici.
Alexandru Dejan Varanic feels very close to Romania, considering that his family comes from Timișoara.
Primul nume e Alexandru, iar al doilea nume Dejan.
My first name is Alexandru, and my middle name, Dejan, is Serbian, because my father is Slav. The same for my brother. His first name, Andrei, is Romanian, and he has a Serbian middle name too, Renat. My father is a Serb ethnic, and my mother is a Romanian born in Timișoara. I think of myself as an American and a Romanian, not so much as a Serb. When I'm in Romania, people see me as an American, and the other way around. To me, it doesn't make much of a difference. I have dual citizenship. To me, home is where I have peace of heart, and I feel at peace both in Chicago and in Romania. My parents are both from Timișoara. After the fall of communism, they emigrated to Chicago, where my father's uncle was living, and they started over, working 2 or 3 jobs each. I was born 3 or 4 years after they came to the U.S. My mother is now a financial manager, and my father has his own construction business. I admire their resilience, the fact that they worked so hard to get where they are, the fact that we are a closely knit family. I admire the love they give to everybody, the respect they taught me to have for all people.
Toată lumea, indiferent cine e, și să iubesc cu toată inima.
For the time being, Alexandru is living in Timișoara in a flat owned by his parents, who intend to come back to Romania at some point. Alexandru has adjusted to his new home, and when he travels to the United States, he misses Romania as well. You have been listening to Foreign Student in Romania.
Next in this program, sports.
I'm Cristina Matescu with the latest news from Romanian sports. The former international player Adrian Mihalcea was appointed on Wednesday manager of the Dinamo Bucharest Football Club. He replaced the club's former Czech manager Dusan Urin, who was sacked after Dinamo failed to qualify for the First League's Group 1 and then also went on to lose 2 Group 2 matches. As a player, Mihalcea won 5 trophies with Dinamo. He won the Romanian Championship title in 2000 and 2002 and the Romanian Cup in 2000, 2001 and 2005. He scored 68 goals in 181 matches for Dinamo, being one of the top 10 scorers in the history of the club. Mihalcea also played for big international clubs such as Genoa and Verona. He was capped 16 times for the Romanian national side. As a coach, he began his career at Unirea Slobozia, the club in his local town. From 2017 until the end of last year, he was the assistant to Cosmin Contra, the manager of the Romanian national side. Bucharest, one of the most popular football clubs in the second league, also has a new manager. Dan Alexa was officially presented as the club's new manager in a press conference on Wednesday. He's replacing Daniel Panko, who was sacked over the club's poor results in the last 3 legs since the resumption of the second league championship. The president of FC Rapid, Ovidiu Burca, said Dan Alexa was chosen because he knows the club well and has experience in helping clubs advance to the first league. Alexa said his personal goal is to advance to the first league, even if this objective is not part of the contract he signed with FC Rapid. Dan Alexa managed this club before, between 2015 and 2016, when Rapid made it to the first league. His contract was interrupted because in the summer of 2016, the club went bankrupt and was excluded from the first league. And that's all in sports today. You can also catch up with the latest news from Romanian sports on our website and on Facebook.
You are listening to Radio Romania International.
Coming up next in today's broadcast, it's Music Highlights. I'm Anna-Maria Popescu, and today's music segment is devoted to a new installment in the series Airs of Musical Romania, hosted on Wednesday, March the 4th by the Radio Romania Concert Hall. The Romanian-born German cellist Valentin Răduțiu and the Swedish pianist Per Rundberg were the protagonists of a recital which included Rachmaninoff's Sonata in G minor for cello and piano, Opus 19, Bohuslav Martinov's Variations on a theme by Rossini, and a transcription of Language Feu Lieder by George Enescu. The two musicians met at the Mozarteum University in Salzburg, and they have recorded a number of albums together, including Enescu's complete works for cello and piano. We chose for today from the recital given by cellist Valentin Răduțiu and pianist Per Rundberg an excerpt from the Sonata in G minor, Opus 19 by Sergei Rachmaninov.
Romania. This is Radio Romania International, broadcasting from Bucharest. Radio Romania International Encyclopedia.
Welcome, I'm Anna Maria Popescu. Two names stand out among Romania's modernist architects. Marcel Iancu, an avant-garde fine artist who rose to fame in Israel after having designed several gorgeous villas in Bucharest, and Horia Krang, who designed some of the best-known landmarks in the Romanian capital city. The descendant of the great Romanian press writer Ion Creangă, Horia Creangă managed in a brief but intensive period to modernize a major boulevard in Bucharest and the interwar industrial outskirts of the city. R.ROMANIA INT, a professor with the Bucharest Architecture University and co-author of the book entitled Horia Creangă, a monograph, gave us a few details about the architect's life.
Este născut în 1892, este nepotul scriitorului Ion Creangă.
He was born in 1892 and was the grandson of writer Ion Creangă. His family was not wealthy. They were lower middle class living in Bucharest. At the end of World War I, in which he took part, Horia put together an exhibition of his watercolor works at the Romanian Athenaeum and sold them in order to pay for his studies at the Fine Arts School in Paris, where a lot of Romanian architects at that time used to go. Although the first Romanian School of Architecture was founded in 1892, many young Romanians would further their education in Paris. After he graduated, he worked in the workshop of his university professor for a while. In Paris, he was living with his wife, Lucia Dumbrăveanu Creangă, one of the first Romanian women architects. Together with whom, back in Romania, Horia opened their first architecture office, joined by his brother Ion Creangă as well. The office became quite successful. In the meantime, Horia was also working for the City Hall with the new building directorate, which was an opportunity for him to meet a lot of people who would later be his clients.
O serie de oameni care devin cu timpul clienți.
Not many details are known today about Horia Creangă's personal life, but his works are well known and many are still standing today. One of his first designs was the home of politician Petru Groza, who became a prime minister in 1945 and later a high-level member of the communist government. In the early 1920s, Horia Creangă built an avant-garde cubist-style mansion for Groza's family. Then he started working with major private companies and industrialists for whom he designed most of his projects in Bucharest. Here is R.ROMANIA INT once again.
Primul proiect uriaș, mare, splendid, cu mare răsunet.
His first major project, a huge one in terms of importance and magnificence, was the Aro building. It was well known abroad as well after its coverage in the Paris-based magazine Architecture. Horia Creangă won a competition organized by the members of the Aro Society. This building, which was known as the Patria building in the communist years and which is now in a terrible condition, was the first modernist building on the boulevard known today as Magheru and previously as Brătianu, which was under construction at that time. This building was the talk of the town in those years. It was seen as a skyscraper. Shocking. It remained shocking for a while, but the people of Bucharest were also very fond of it. It had a gorgeous cinema hall and a restaurant. In the interwar years, it hosted outstanding performances, such as one by the violinist Yehudi Menuhin and the singer Maria Tănase. It was a representative place for the modern, progressive Romanian society after the Great War. Later on, Horia Creangă designed another building on the same boulevard, the Malax-Burilanu building, also presented in a major foreign magazine. At present, we know of 28 projects by Horia Creangă, most of which have actually been built.
Proiecte, dintre care marea majoritate sunt construite.
These projects include the Giulești Theatre, currently the Children's Comic Opera building, the Malaxa Industrial Works, later renamed 23rd of August in the eastern part of the city, and the Obor Hall. All these buildings were regarded as innovative not only in Romania, but in Europe as well. What drew Horia Creangă towards modernism was the simplicity and elegance of the lines. It still was to find the essence that gave the building its refinement and beauty. And that was Radio Romania International's Encyclopedia.
Radio Romania International. Coming up next on Radio Romania International. In the Spotlight.
Hello dear friends, and welcome to a new edition of our weekly feature covering the latest developments in Romania's international life. I am Daniel Bill to the microphone. Stay tuned. Romania's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bogdan Aurescu, attended the meeting of the General Affairs Council, GAC, in Brussels on February 25th this year. The agenda of the meeting included the following issues: preparations for the European Council meeting of March 26-27, 2020, EU enlargement policy and the stabilization and association process, presentation of the European Commission's proposal for a new enlargement methodology, adoption of a negotiating mandate on EU-UK post-Brexit relationships, the European Commission's 2020 work programme. In his speech regarding the economic agenda of the future European Council, Foreign Minister Aurescu emphasized Romania's support for the objectives of consolidating the digital single market, for focusing on the decrease of the digital gap, for boosting European investments in disadvantaged regions, for ensuring the full functioning internal market, as well as for the importance of drafting a future EU industrial strategy and ensuring a fair and equitable transition to climate neutrality, taking into account the different economic and social situations in the member countries. Within the GAC meeting, the ministers approved the negotiation mandate of the European Commission on the future relationship between the European Union and the United Kingdom. Minister Bogdan Aurescu expressed Romania's support for the negotiation mandate, underlining that it reflects the strategic lines previously agreed upon at the European Council level, as well as the elements of the political declaration concluded with the withdrawal agreement. He also stressed the need for a comprehensive and ambitious agreement with the UK to further allow close cooperation in a wide range of areas. In this context, Minister Aurescu argued that the fast adoption of the negotiation mandate at the Council level sends a strong signal to the UK regarding our determination to start negotiations as soon as possible in order to reach a substantial agreement beneficial to both sides. Furthermore, Minister Aurescu expressed his confidence that the efforts of the negotiating team would materialize by obtaining a fair and equitable result for all member states, in full compliance with the interests of European citizens. He reiterated the importance of a unitary and coherent voice of the EU in the future negotiation process. The interests of the Romanian citizens will remain at the center of our priorities. We will mainly pursue that the future arrangements in the mobility area are governed by the principles of full reciprocity and non-discrimination, the Romanian Foreign Minister said. Moreover, within the GAC meeting, the European Commission presented the methodology proposed to streamline the enlargement process. With regard to this topic of discussion, Minister Aurescu reiterated Romania's firm support for the advancement of the enlargement process in accordance with the principle of the candidate's own merits. He called for coordinated action at an EU level to further ensure the credibility, transparency and effectiveness of the EU action, taking also into account the strategic value of the enlargement process. Bogdan Aurescu showed that the effectiveness of the enlargement methodology should not lead to blocking or delaying the ongoing accession negotiation processes, nor decision to open the accession negotiations with Albania and the Republic of North Macedonia. During the meeting, an exchange of views also took place on the Commission's 2020 work programme. As part of the discussions, Romanian Minister welcomed the priorities announced by the European Commission through its work programme, showing that they are in line with the objectives included in the EU Strategic Agenda for 2019-2024 and voicing the availability to support the Commission in their implementation. Aurescu emphasized the importance of strengthening those policies which contributed to the sustainability of the European project, such as the consolidation of the single market, the adoption of a balanced multi-annual financial framework, the guarantee of the full functionality of Schengen area, or the strengthening of the EU external action, including in relation to the immediate neighbourhood and through the extension policy. You are tuned to Radio Romania International, broadcasting from Bucharest. In the Spotlight continues. In the context of the steps taken at national level in order to manage and prevent the spread of the infection with COVID-19, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Internal Affairs organized on March the 3rd an information session for diplomatic missions and international organizations accredited in Bucharest. The measures taken in this regard by the national authorities were presented by the Secretary of State of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the head of the Emergency Department, Raed Arafat. In order to control and reduce the spread of COVID-19 infection in Romania, the Secretary of State emphasized both the importance of the measures adopted by Romania and the fact that these measures have been based on data and analysis provided by the World Health Organization and by the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. In addition, Raed Arafat stressed that the measures that have been adopted apply both to Romanian citizens and to foreign nationals who arrive in Romania from the affected areas. At the same time, the Secretary of State underlined the efforts made to ensure a correct and transparent public communication, recalling that at this moment, the Romanian authorities issued 2 newsletters daily, accessible on the websites of the competent institutions: Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as on the sites of Romania's diplomatic missions abroad. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reiterated its openness for a constant dialogue with the diplomatic missions accredited in Bucharest in order to inform them about the measures applied by the Romanian authorities and stressed the importance of coordinating efforts in the process of managing and preventing the spread of COVID-19 infection at a European and international level. And that's all from our regular feature in the Spotlight. And with that, our broadcast in English for listeners in Western Europe and Japan has come to an end. You can listen to our next program for Western Europe tomorrow at 6:30 hours UTC on 7345 kHz in unload system, and on 6040 kHz in the RM system. Listeners in Japan can listen to our next program tomorrow at 23 hours UTC on 9620 kHz and 7325 kHz. We can also be heard on the internet at www.rri.ro, channel 1. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write an email at ngl@rri.ro.